What's the most insane celebrity relationship that blows your mind every time you think about it?
Okay, so I know a lot of people know this. Nick Jonas and Miley Cyrus dated, but have you read this book? I know that they were like 13 or 14, but she has a literal chapter in the book called Prince Charming where she talks about meeting him and how in love she was with him. Now, their relationship was pretty dramatic. Like, Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato got involved. There's like a whole timeline with their relationship and then their breakup and getting back together and all that. Now, honestly, there's so much to talk about, but I'm gonna read a little excerpt from the book because this is so important to me. This is from the day they first met. She says, "He started to shake my hand and I said, I don't do handshakes, I do hugs. When he hugged me, I noticed his scratchy shirt and blurted out, I hate your shirt. So that was the first thing I said to him, I hate your shirt." So this photo was taken from the first day they met. So that striped shirt underneath that polo is the shirt that was scratchy and that she hated. And a while later, Miley's private photos got leaked and she was wearing that same scratchy shirt. And then the Seven Things music video is like a whole thing, but she holds up this photo of them after they broke up. She writes about it in the book. Oh my god, they're so iconic. I'm back. I have no idea how many parts this is going to end up being. I promise every part will be equally informative and juicy, but it might be a lot. There's so much to cover in so little time. Also, I'll do this as a timeline, so buckle in. So if we remember from the last part, this photo was taken on the first day that Nick Jonas and Miley Cyrus met. This is really important because in the book she says, I remember the exact date, June 11th, 2006. It was the day I met my first love. Let's call him Prince Charming. Remember the date because in 2012, Nick Jonas releases a song called Wedding Bells where the lyrics say, because if you recall, our anniversary falls 11 nights into June. Anyways, she goes on to write, we were on the phone until 4 o'clock that morning, and just like that, I was smitten. It felt like the whole world stopped, nothing else mattered. She wasn't the only one smitten though, because in the Jonas Brothers documentary that was just released last year called Chasing Happiness, there was this scene.
Why not the Jonas Brothers?
That changed girls for Nick forever. Met Miley. I think that kid's head exploded.
I started writing about love, and I actually knew what it felt like.
Thus, Love Bug was born. I've done my research and I'm back with a part 3. So we left off in June 2006 where they first met, and in this part we're going to talk about their first breakup and the events that led to it and how they got back together. So after meeting each other, they started dating pretty much immediately and they were seen hanging out here on the Year 3000 music video set during the 2006 Thanksgiving parade, and when Nick got her this Build-A-Bear, seen here. But somewhere in between that and early 2007 was when Nick and Miley went on their first break, and she talks about it in the book. It's important to note that during and before the break is when the Jonas Brothers and Miley both were writing songs for their albums. That's where the lyric in SOS, Hugs Are Overrated, Just FYI comes from, and most of the songs on Meet Miley Cyrus are also about Nick, as she talks about in her book. But then, spring of 2007 is when they get back together. She says, the egg roll was around the time I wrote Girls' Night Out, meaning Prince Charming and I were on a break. We were young and living strange lives. But it just so happens that he was also at the egg roll. The instant I saw Prince Charming, my heart did a cartwheel. I'm running out of time, but I'm posting part 2 really soon, and that's where it gets juicy, so stay tuned. Are we ready for part 4? This part is really important, but also the next part is where we start talking about how Selena and Demi get involved, so stay tuned. After getting back together spring of 2007, the media starts really catching on. They're asked about each other in interviews.
Who do you like the best? That one. I like Nick the best. You like Nick the How come? Because he's cute, yeah.
Are you dating Nick Jonas?
No.
Publicly, they were denying their relationship, but the interviews kind of speak for themselves. Soon after, a paparazzi took this photo of Miley, and what do you know? Her screensaver was a photo of Nick and her kissing. It's kind of cute, because recently Nick revealed that Miley was his first kiss. After that, they were pretty public about their relationship. Miley would post photos with his dog tag, and this is where Disney went full force. They went on tour, released albums, the Jonas Brothers went on Hannah Montana. They'd be extremely flirty on tour all the time. But literally, towards the end, in the middle of tour, Prince Charming and I broke up December 19, 2007. My life felt like it had ground to a halt. This is the Love Bug Book Club now, so welcome back. I hope you're still invested. We left off on Miley and Nick breaking up in the middle of tour in December. Regardless of the breakup, Miley would still continue to wear Nick's dog tags on stage, and this is from the night that they broke up. Nick revealed to a magazine that they broke up right before the holidays, and that's when he wrote the song Sorry. And fresh out of a breakup, Nick and Miley had to perform together on New Year's Eve, and they didn't stand next to each other. Ryan Seacrest called her out for it.
With all due respect, I saw you inching away from your ex-boyfriend so you weren't next to him at midnight.
Not even that big of a deal. And no one knows if we were ever together, so how can we break up? We were never even together.
The tour ended January 2008, and this is what Miley had to say about it in a 2018 interview.
I got broken up with, and then I was like, can I hug you goodbye? And he said no.
Pause and read. She talks about how she dyed her hair dark because she was rebelling against everything Nick wanted her to be. She wrote 7 things about the breakup, and she says, I was so angry when I wrote 7 things. I wanted to punish him, to get back at him for hurting me. Then, in February 2008, the Miley and Mandy show was born. She shades Nick, but also Demi and Selena enter the chat. Team Miley and Mandy or Team Selena and Demi? We left off in February 2008, which was the birth of the Miley and Mandy YouTube channel. A couple noteworthy episodes were when they danced a potential breakup song, and Miley rips this photo of her and Nick, and they feature Jonas Brothers merch. Selena and Demi were making YouTube videos at the same time, and Miley and Mandy decided to respond to one by mocking them. Clearly motivated by Miley's jealousy of Selena and Nick's blooming romance.
A lot of you have been saying that, I've been wearing a lot of makeup. Which people say my makeup's too dark, and I don't really see it.
Thus, the iconic feud officially began. In June, Miley releases a 7 Things music video where she kisses Nick's dog tag and holds up this photo of them. That same month, Nick features Selena Gomez as the love interest in Burnin' Up that he wrote about Miley. Red dress! Miley drops her album Breakout in July where she thanks Prince Charming, but then August. I'll just let this clip speak for itself.
You make me love you.
And pretty soon after, Kevin Jonas decides to pick sides by stepping out in a Team Demi and Selena shirt. And yet somehow, Niley's story is not over yet. Quick announcement, if you're interested in a more in-depth analysis of this tea, you gotta follow me on Twitch because I'm gonna start streaming on there. On top of the breakup, Miley at this point is going through some of her most controversial scandals to date, including this Vanity Fair cover, and her computer getting hacked as a minor and a bunch of intimate photos leaking. So resuming back to Kevin Jonas wearing this Team Demi and Selena shirt, this is the same month that Selena Gomez and Nick Jonas dating rumors are in full swing. Much like Niley, they're keeping the fans curious as to the validity of their relationship.
Are you dating Selena Gomez?
Well, she's an amazing girl. I mean, anybody would like to be dating her.
The month after, Miley steps out publicly for the first time with her 20-year-old new boyfriend, Justin Gaston, who was introduced to her by her dad. Weirdly enough, Justin is now married to Melissa Ordway, who starred in the last song with Miley. Miley continues to do press events with the Jonas Brothers, and for the first time, Miley performs the song Goodbye, which is about Nick Jonas in the same state that they broke up in. She's making some suspicious lyric changes during her performances and doing stuff like this.
I still hate you.
Miley's boyfriend dresses up as Nick Jonas for Halloween. At the end of November, Miley celebrates her 16th birthday with Taylor Swift, who had just broken up with Joe Jonas at the time. And only a couple months later do Nick and Miley reconnect. Literally hold on tight because these next few parts are about to be a roller coaster. Things are uncomfortable, and by uncomfortable, she literally asks Ryan Seacrest to save her when she's just standing close to the Jonas Brothers on the red carpet.
Happy New Year. Nice.
But only a week later do we actually get the iconic reconciliation hug that Miley writes about in her book. The last time I saw Prince Charming, we hugged. I closed my eyes for a moment. I did not want to let go. In that moment, I just wanted to imagine that it was 2 years ago and things were the way they used to be. Later, this article comes out and it's clear that they're casual enough to text, but not text without reason. And only a few days later do Nick and Selena reportedly call it quits. And the day after that, this happens. So that's interesting. That same night, Nick does an interview and completely plays down his relationship with Miley.
Young little relationship.
And come on, we all know it was more than that. Miley then comes out with her book and starts to do press for it.
Nick is my favorite Jonas, so I'm happy with our friendship.
Nick Jonas signs copies of the book. Selena begins cryptically tweeting about the breakup. The song I Won't Apologize is about the whole situation. Then they start writing Before the Storm. Part 9, and we're talking Send It On and Before the Storm. We left off in April 2009 with these candid photos of Nick and Miley officially reuniting them, and only a couple months after Nick and Selena break up. It's important to note that Miley is still with Justin at this time, but there are a lot of rumors at this time that Miley's gonna leave Justin for Nick, and so she debunks that on Twitter. In June, we get the iconic Send It On music video where Nick and Miley are paired up, and Selena's paired with Kevin? I mean, this is the Olivia, Sabrina, Joshua love triangle of 2009. Same day, she tweets this photo and these tweets about having a wonderful day, and also that she's thinking about life. A couple days later, after thinking about life with Nick Jonas, this happens. At this time, Miley starts performing 7 Things and changing the lyrics to insinuate that she's forgiven Nick Jonas. And Nick visits her on the set of the last song where they're seen kissing on a jet ski. Joe lets it slip that Nick and Miley are dating again.
I don't think anybody's as famous as Miley Cyrus.
Before the Storm is released and they perform it, please watch the whole thing for yourself, but here are a few clips. This is from the documentary, but look at Nick's face. He's so in love. Miley's so in love. So let's talk about that. Warning, at this point the timeline gets super messy, so bear with me. As we know, Miley considers her anniversary with Prince Charming to be June 11th, 2006. Now she also considers her anniversary with Liam to be June 11th, 2009. This doesn't add up because on June 9th, 2009, she was seen kissing Nick on a jet ski. And on July 5th, 2009, she tweeted that she was single, so something doesn't really add up here. Things continue to get fishy because on July 22nd, 2009, she tweets lyrics to My Girl, which she has always associated with Nick because he used to sing Miley, talking about Miley. But then in August, the off-screen romance between Liam and Miley is officially confirmed with these paparazzi photos. In September, Nick starts casually dating this girl named Courtney, but he later reflects on that period of his life as complicated and overwhelming. In October, Miley deletes her Twitter, and then tweeted that Liam wanted her to delete the Twitter, which even when I was young and this was all happening, I kind of thought that was weird. In December, Nick does an interview where he claims that him and Miley are in a good place and that they're best friends. Nick ends the new year by stepping out with none other than Selena Gomez.
Miley. And then back with Selena.
Thank you, Demi.
And then back with Miley.
The piping hot tea for Nick and Miley kind of comes to a simmer in 2010, but nonetheless, we continue. So we left off 2009 with Nick and Selena rekindling their romance. Selena attends various tour dates of Nick's first solo tour, to which she cries during one of Nick's songs, Stay. The reason behind Selena crying is heavily debated, and the song itself is also debated to be either about Miley or Selena, so I guess you can decide for yourself. Along those same lines, Nick's first solo album is released in February, and a lot of songs are about Miley and one song is about Selena. Early March, Selena and Nick break up again, and in April, this is what Nick has to say about Miley.
Moments where she probably could have used me, I wasn't there.
In May and June, Miley makes so many lyric changes I could literally make an entire series on just that. A lot of these lyric changes were quite salty, so it might have reflected the relationship status of Nick and Miley at the time. Then, Nick sings Before the Storm in the same city that Nick and Miley had broken up in 2007. 2010 wraps up with Miley hooking up with Avanjogia from Victorious, and the infamous Jelena relationship begins. With no concrete proof, it was kind of speculated that Miley and Nick were secretly kind of seeing each other in 2011. Stay tuned, because next we talk about wedding bells. I've all been waiting for it, let's talk wedding bells. As a side note though, on April 26th, Nick and Miley tweeted lyrics to the same song. While of course this could be a coincidence, the lyrics say things like, do the things you always wanted to without me there to hold you back. Just a few months after that, Liam and Miley's engagement is officially announced in early June. Nick Jonas clearly had some strong feelings about this announcement because by October he wrote and performed a song called Wedding Bells. I would pause to read the whole thing, but essentially, before performing it, he has a little speech about how uncomfortable and personal this song is to him. With just a quick glance at the lyrics, you can clearly see that this song is blatantly about Miley. He references their anniversary and the day that they first met on June 11th, and additionally has very personal lyrics like, I don't want to love if it's not you, I don't want to hear the wedding bells prove that we can't try one last time. This is what Miley had to say about the song.
I don't know who else is getting married, so I feel like that's pretty blatant, but
she goes on to vaguely talk about how it is an artist's job to kind of write personal songs. In usual Nick Jonas fashion, he stays pretty diplomatic and just kind of agrees with that.
The fact that your life is what you have to write about sometimes.
Please listen to the song. It's part 13, where in 2013, we're jumping full force into Miley's Bangers era. So at this point in time, after Wedding Bells was out in the world, interactions between Nick and Miley were pretty far and few between, but we see them catching up here at the 2013 TCAs. And this photo, while not the highest quality, I just love because Nick, we see you. In September, Miley and Liam officially call off their engagement for the first time. And this is where we see Miley's Bangers era really take off. Obviously, she's trying to find independence post-breakup and also from Disney. Her 2013 VMA performance just really showcased that. When Nick Jonas was asked about the performance, he just said that Miley was very smart and that they've always known that about her. The song Maybe You're Right off Miley's Bangers album is said to be about Nick, and here's why. While performing the song, Miley had this little animation backdrop playing where she highlights meeting Prince Charming, if only he was wearing the scratchy shirt. Storm comes, which causes them to kind of fall apart. They reconnect, only to leave her alone and with a broken heart again. And then a buff, kangaroo, Liam, Australian, comes to save her. After this, it's pretty much just interviews and online interactions, but I'll still I too can't believe we're 14 parts in, but let's get into it. In 2015, Nick does several interviews where he states that him and Miley have no bad blood, but they just don't really have a relationship anymore. That being said, the next few years really consist of Nick being obsessed with her on social media. It starts off with Nick being extremely supportive of Miley hosting the VMAs. So supportive though that he even liked a fan-made edit of him and Miley promoting the VMAs. However, after all of that, there was no known interaction between him and Miley, and in typical Nick J fashion, he was seen hanging out with Selena Gomez at the VMA after party. In 2015, Nick randomly posted a TBT with him and Miley, and a couple months later, Miley starts wearing her engagement ring again, which indicates that her and Liam are back together. Nick gets awkward when he's asked about Liam in an interview.
No, you shared words.
No, we didn't actually say hello.
Flash forward to 2017, he randomly posts another TBT, and again. And although we all know it, he confirmed that Wedding Bells was about Miley.
Wedding Bells about Miley. Is that really the first one?
He continues to be Miley's biggest fan on social, and again during the Met Gala in 2018, which was the same month that him and Priyanka start dating. At the end, folks, it's part 15. Only 2 months after Nick left these comments on Miley's Instagram in May of 2018, Priyanka and Nick get engaged. In February, Priyanka and Liam do a movie together, which I just find wildly strange. And Miley gets asked about Nick on the red carpet premiere of that movie.
Not much changes.
That same month, Miley compliments Priyanka in an Instagram comment. And in March, Miley goes on a whole throwback spree on her Instagram stories. She even highlights the time that her and Selena were infamously feuding over Nick. That same time, she DMs Nick yet another throwback, to which Priyanka leaves this comment. Miley posts this to celebrate her and Liam's anniversary, but we later find out that the day after she posted this was actually the day that they legally filed for separation. Their wedding's just 2 weeks apart. Miley and Nick both get married to their partners in December. Now, this caption referencing Before the Storm could be purely coincidental, but it was the same time that Joe and Nick unfollowed Miley and Miley unfollowed Priyanka. At some point, Miley refollows Nick on Instagram where she claims that Instagram was the one who unfollowed him for her.
I've been following Nick since the throwbacks on my...
Otherwise, it's a quiet year for Niley, except for the crumbs that we have here thanks to Frankie Jonas.